How, the proverbial question wonders, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's the answer. Is the Rangers' managerial job in this offseason an elephant? Not sure, but Skip Schumaker's going one bite at a time. Let's talk about that next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. So the next steps are many. And, of course, the first of those is to introduce Skip Schumaker as the official manager of the Texas Rangers. Rarity already asking about that. And the opening question of what would be and will be a spirited chat today on the DLLS Rangers podcast. We appreciate you joining us. Me, John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, the Queen's here. It's Kat, and we're awfully glad to have you along, too, and we know you will keep us interested, as we hope we will keep you the same. And yes, the next steps are many. There are so many, but just because maybe it's a Major League Baseball thing and CY doesn't want to step on the commissioner's toes, just because Skip Schumaker hasn't been introduced doesn't mean he's not working, right? We already told you Bobby Wilson has been let go as the catching coordinator. And yesterday, a big signing, Jeff.
That's right, baby.
Declan.
I'm going to call him Declan.
Declan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess a nice, promising, good potential relief pitcher who underwent Tommy John surgery, was released by the Marlins. Mista says he never pitched for Schumaker, but his rookie season was 2024 with the Marlins. So, I'm going to fact check you there, Mista. But anyway, we'll see what comes of it. He's not going to pitch this year, obviously, because he's hurt.
Yeah,
and so it feels kind of like the Cody Hauer signing a few years ago. The Cubs signed him while he was in medical no man's land.
Well,
and patiently dealt with him, and then he came up this year and.
And Tyler Mahle, right?
Sure, Tyler Mahle. Yeah. But like Heuer signed a minor league deal. This is a minor league deal.
Yeah.
You can't sign free agents to major league deals yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean,
we know
stash his name for later.
Yeah, for 20. Somebody said 2027, but we know the Rangers will do this and are very confident in this organization's ability to, bring a guy back from Tommy John to be at least as good and in many cases better than he was before.
Yeah, and they believe in their rehab crew, and with in Arizona, and Keith Meister, and I don't know if Keith did Cronin's Tommy John or not, but I'm sure there's a pretty good chance he did.
Does most of them.
Yeah, and that might have been what convinced Cronin, who likely had other offers, to sign with the Rangers, kind of like Mahle, because Mahle, Meister did Mahle surgery.
Yeah,
and that was part of the reason why Mahle wanted to sign with the Rangers. So we'll see how it plays out. I'd imagine he'll be. Have a locker in big league spring training, even though he won't be doing anything except maybe throwing for the first time since surgery. But there you go.
Yeah,
it's a move.
Again, it's a very minor thing, but it's one of those things that needs to get done, and that's what we mean about the to-do list being so long. Of course, the first item on that list could and probably should be introduce the man and let's get this going. But in the meantime, you can't just waste time, right? and he's not clearly. And CY has no interest or ability to do that, as well as the rest of that baseball front office, Russ Fenstermaker and the rest of them. So they'll continue to do all the things that they can do to get this team, back to what they want it to be overall. And again, not surprising that the first move, if you will, the first personnel move of the offseason is a pitcher, Jeff, because, CY says it all the time. You can never have enough pitching.
Yeah, and adding to this Cronin deal, he's not even arbitration eligible yet.
No.
He's going to potentially be a great value, and the Rangers, all teams want value, and the Rangers especially do, apparently, with their payroll being cut back, and with the TV situation, maybe not cranking out the money they had hoped initially. So whatever. Look forward to meeting him at some point. Probably not till spring training.
I like Mista's other comment about the Friday evening intro press conference. I can't imagine the Rangers are going to do another news dump like they did Friday night. But anyway, that's when they announced who it would be officially. Perhaps that is when they'll introduce him. There are lots of other things, though, on this to-do list for the team and certainly for Skip Schumaker. And I think foremost among them, well, first and foremost, isn't it, is the settling of the coaching staff, right?
Yes.
You got to get that settled. And he has to be comfortable with the coaching staff. I mean, he knows them all. He was around all of them enough this year. All of them finished the season in good standing. I think for most of them right now, Jeff, no news is probably good news, but there's no news.
Right. I think Skip is. I don't even know that Skip's in Texas.
Okay.
So he is doing things regarding the coaching staff and making calls. I've talked to a couple of guys. There's been a little progress in one spot, and then other ones still waiting to hear some things. So, it's just with the secrecy and everything that the Rangers have, it's going to take somebody telling us. And of course, the Rangers will probably tell them, "Don't say anything." So we'll figure out how that's going to work out. But there are so many coaches now on a big league coaching staff. We know Bobby Wilson has confirmed that he's not coming back. But beyond that, I think the biggest question is Mike Maddox and Brett Boone.
Right.
The guys who lead the hitting and the hitters and the pitchers. And Mike did such a great job this year with his team. And Chris Young stated, "Hey, we want to keep these guys. We want them back. Dave Bush and Jordan Teagues to go with Maddox." So that's got to come out. Maybe they're trying to line some things up so they can announce some things at the introductory press conference, whenever that is. The playoff games today. There's 4 of them.
Yeah,
they're all elimination games.
Pretty
so
cool.
It's possible that if the teams facing elimination are indeed eliminated, if the series end, there'll be no games tomorrow. There'll be no games Friday. So get in a press conference there. And if it's like one game Friday, I bet Friday's kind of the day.
Yeah. And it's more, let's see. Yeah. Because the American League series would both play on Friday.
Yeah.
Would the National League, would it be a 4-day? Let's just say all the elimination possible teams win today. Would there be 4 games on Friday again?
No. The National League was off yesterday. So
okay.
So this would be the.
So there'll be games tomorrow in the National League.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's something to look for. Maybe that will be when we get this official announcement. And really, in so many ways, it's not super necessary. We want it. We're anxious. We want to sit down and talk to Skip and start to get to know him on a better and different level, and they want you, to do that through us as well. So it'll happen soon enough. But in the meantime, I think it's actually good to know that they're getting work done, minor though it might be. So they've got to worry about the coaching staff next. Right after that, and maybe already, Skip has to do, I think, if I remember all the other managers who had a full offseason after they were named, Jeff, Skip's got to spend some time getting to know the players in a different level, in a different role, manager to player type situation.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy, fortunately that for him is that Corey Seager lives in the Nashville area, so that was an easy get together back in 22 and 23. A lot of phone calls from the manager, and I think a lot of it is done via phone. Now, Ron Washington went to see Mike Trout in New Jersey. I think you go to your superstar. When he got hired by the Angels, so I would expect that Skip might have some of that. But then again, he already knows a lot of these guys because he spent time in spring training with the club, and then was around at times during the regular season. So it may not be as big a feeling out for him as another manager, but there's some of that too. And then on the front office side right now, they're going to have pro scouting meetings, and that's when they really dissect their own roster. They have their ideas, but they really dissect their own roster and the farm system. And then, all the people are going to be free agents. Then the people that the players they think might be available in trade. And some of those conversations probably started at the trade deadline. And then even last year's winter meetings and last offseason, guys that had multiple years of control, they might have one less, but those conversations might have taken place. So I think that the roster has to be cleaned up. There's the mundane, but annual cleaning up of the 40-man roster. You got to add back everybody who's on the 60-day to the 40-man, if they're going to play or whatever. And Lord knows the Rangers had a lot of those. So you got to create spots for them on the 40 by DFAing guys. So there, and some of it does happen through attrition of the free agents. That's another way to clear up roster spots. But so there's just some, procedural moves that are coming. Technically they don't have to do it until after the World Series, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did them now.
And to the extent you can sign your own big league free agents during this month, right?
Yes.
So, to the extent that they'd be interested in, obviously most of them are pitchers, but Tyler Mahle or John Gray, we don't think that's happening, but any of those guys,
Sean Armstrong, try to get a guy who had a great season. Try to get him for a couple years.
Get him locked up. Yeah.
But try to beat the market, because as we all know in the offseason, the reliever market for the good guys can go crazy.
Yeah.
And these teams that aren't worried about spending, like the Mets, they'll spend a lot of money on relief arms. And so it's at least worth contacting his agent, seeing where they stand, and trying to find a deal. I mean, why wouldn't you want Sean Armstrong back?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I just kind of think that's would be a good idea. Hobie Milner too. Now in fairness, I think it doesn't happen a lot. Honestly, the only one I remember clearly off the top of my head is that the Rangers re-signed, and this was 13-ish, 14-ish, reliever Jason Frazier, who's a really good guy.
He is a good guy.
They just re-signed him one day in October. And I was like, okay, great. I was at the dog park with our dogs, and obviously the Rangers weren't in the playoffs, so I remember that one. But that's the only one I remember.
It's funny. I see those things on social media all the time that say, name a random Texas Ranger, and Pudge Rodriguez and Josh Hamilton don't count, or whatever, right? And they list two of the biggest names, or Nolan Ryan and Pudge Rodriguez don't count. And I always try to come up with the Jason Frasers of the
Right,
world,
right.
right? You know, like it'd be easy to name the random one and it'd be Michael Young, but I like Jason Fraser. That is a random name from the past I hadn't thought of in a long time. So good on that. That's what he's doing. That's what he's trying to do. We'll see if there is, in fact, a press conference later in the week. I agree with Jeff. Friday seems like a pretty good opportunity. Don't be surprised if that's when it is. More coming up, though, as we discuss the biggest challenge now facing Skip Schumaker and the Rangers in this offseason. We kind of have three choices. We'll discuss each of them next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's game time. Time for you to invest your time, your passion, your energy, and your love into college football. There's some really good college football being played around here these days. On the Hilltop, obviously. Fort Worth at Amon Carter. The Frogs are gone this week. They're at Kansas State. But who is home? The Mean Green. Man, North
I got
Texas.
a big Friday night game against South Florida.
Friday night game against South Florida, and the Mean Green are having a really good year. So it could be fun. That is a great place to go on out and watch a game. And Denton's just always a fun town to hang out in as well.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to go to Game Time. It's a Game Time app. All you got to do is download the app. Go to Game Time. I see there are tickets available for the Mean Green game this Friday night for as low as $41. That's an awfully good team and a really fun night. Game Time app, use the code DLLS and you get $20 off your first purchase.
If you're sitting there thinking, man, do I have $41? You know, it can tell you Monarch Money.
Yep.
It's easy to lose track of your bank accounts and how many credit cards you have and how many Netflix and apps like that you're paying for. Monarch Money is here to help you lasso all of that stuff and know how much money you have and to live the life you want, not the one where you're scrambling and like we've said, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes.
That's no fun. The mad scramble. But Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you have kids and who are playing sports and you got your job and all that business, Monarch's for you. Monarchs does the heavy lifting. They link all of your accounts and minutes. They give you clear visuals and really smart on how they categorize your spending so you know where you're wasting your money or where you're spending it wisely. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code DLLS.
Love some of the random Ranger names like Jason Botts and Dickie Knowles coming down the pike. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for. You know, not Michael Young and Ian Kinsler. Those aren't super random. Okay, so the biggest challenge of the offseason, it seems to be obvious, but let's discuss each of them as I see them. And Jeff and I have not discussed this amongst ourselves yet. That's usually how we go about this show. What we say to each other, we kind of save it for the show. So offense is an obvious, yes, that's a big challenge. Is it the biggest? Let's talk about each of them and what has to be done with the offense. We've talked about it a lot in the past. The fact that it just has to be an offense that, passes the baton a little better, right? Just move the offense along. It doesn't have to be a home run every time, and we really prefer it not to be a home run or a strikeout every time, right? Pass the baton. Do what the game asks you to do, Jeff.
Yeah, and I think that's will be answer a big question as to how Skip Schumaker views baseball.
Yeah,
I'm sure with his time with the Cardinals, even though it was just 1 year, they're heavy data people.
Yeah,
but I think that his time with Tony La Russa as a player with the Cardinals, will hold a lot of sway as well. I think that if he comes out in his introductory press conference and says, "This is who we're going to be. We're going to hit to the situations. We're not going to be bashing the ball out of the ballpark. We want guys who make contact, who are tough outs, who make who give the team at bats and make the smart plays." That's, I think, will be a very a telling sign. All right, who is Schumaker? Who is Skip Schumaker as a manager? That's the answer you're hoping you get, and I think that's the answer that Chris Young wanted in seeking a replacement for Bruce Bochy. And what was the main problem with the offense this year was their inability to do the right thing in when the situation called for it. So that's going to be his challenge. And again, it sounds like Chris Young and probably Bruce Bochy and Brett Boone in the exit interviews gave certain hitters instructions like, hey, you got to learn how to do these things.
Yeah.
And there are swings for it. And don't just work on your A swing that you think is going to hit 50 home runs, because it ain't happening with our ballpark. Okay. We need line drives. We need productive outs. We need fly balls. Okay. So I think that is already in motion. And I think that Skip Schumaker is going to carry that baton into spring training and lay down the law in spring training. This is who we're going to be offensively.
Yeah. And when I was taking that look back at predominantly the 2023 season, when Schumaker led the Marlins to the playoffs that year, there was one, the night they clinched, somebody grabbed him on the field for one of the exit type interviews that we do in TV, somebody from Bally Sports, Florida. And the question was just asked about how you accomplished this. 30 days ago, you were a game under 500. And he said the exact words, in the past month, we have spent the entire month doing what the game asks us, right? He didn't say it exactly how we remember Wash saying it, but he said, we've just been doing what the game asks us, doing what the game demands. So it's in his sort of his vernacular, his nomenclature, right? Like, this is what we do. This is how you achieve success in baseball. So it feels like, just based on that past history, he comes in with that mindset. Now, the other challenge on that offensive side is, great, we want you to pass the baton, but we don't want it all to be a bunch of slapping Judy hitters, right? We still need to have guys that will hit the ball out of the ballpark, guys that do what Corey Seager does, guys that that do what Jock Peterson's supposed to do, that type of thing.
Right, and
Jake Berger.
Exactly. You need to be a well-rounded offense, and you need to be able to run into one for a 3-run homer to change a game. We'll get to that a little bit later. There are guys who just don't handle the bat well. They really don't. Now, all these guys are super talented and have great hand-eye coordination, but some of them, that's just not in their DNA, and that's okay. You just can't have too many of those guys.
Right.
It's the guys who do have it, the guys who have shown that they can hit, who can get out there and do the right thing. You have to be willing to sacrifice for your team at some point in some at-bats. And it may hurt your batting average, but you know what? It helps the team win. And ultimately, if you do those things, you become a better teammate, a more popular teammate. Your manager likes you more. Your GM and president of baseball operations like you more. So ultimately, in the long run, it does help you.
Yeah, it'll definitely do that. But there is a mindset sometimes, like, I just have to worry about, like, guys don't like to sacrifice. They don't like to do things like that. Even in the NBA, guys don't like to take that last second shot, like from three-quarter court, because it hurts their shooting percentage. Come on, guys. But anyway, all right. So then you get to the chemistry, and I think it's 1 and 1A on how important they are. The offense was an obvious problem all season long. It really has been an obvious problem for the past 2 seasons. The truth about the chemistry is that the vast majority of the guys were there in 2023, and obviously we were not suggesting there were any issues with the chemistry. But to me, the reason it became a bigger issue this year is because, Jeff, it went sort of public with Marcus Simeon's comments, right? And that hurt some feelings. We know that, of guys in the clubhouse. They didn't like it. So, there is some work to be done there. And then as it pertains to the manager, how much of that is on him? Often that is just something that has to happen internally and organically with a clubhouse.
Right. And that and you have to make sure that these players buy into what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's part of it too. He has to create the as he said with the Marlins, the winning culture.
Yeah.
Playing winning baseball, is doing whatever it takes. And if it takes you grounding out to second base to get a guy to third with one out, or hitting a ground ball up the middle to get the guy from third home with less than 2 outs, dadgummit, go do it. Now the crooked numbers are nice, and there are times you play for those for sure. But so creating the culture where they believe in each other and where they're good teammates, they trust the guy behind them. They don't try to do too much in their own at bats. They make the tough. I don't know if it's a tough decision. They just do what the game asks them to do.
Yeah.
So that needs to be created, or if not created, it needs to be modified, magnified, some kind of fied, and so Skip's gonna have to do that too.
Terrified, personified, one of the fides. And then the other thing, and again, this is always there, especially with Chris Young in the organization and as the president of baseball operations, but the importance and the challenge of pitching, right? They're going to need at least one more starter, given what they already have in-house. And we've talked about it. There's a fair amount of work, probably at least 4 relievers, as we kind of named it yesterday. There's about 4 that are coming back pretty easily. They're going to need at least 4 more, though.
Yes, and I hope that as we've talked about some of the guys who we would love to see come back, you hope that they do, and but you have to go a little bit young here. You need every bullpen needs guys who can be optioned, and I thought that was a problem with this team this year, because when the season started, I think that the only guy who had options was Robert Garcia. And he ended up playing a huge role.
Yeah.
Of the newcomers, for sure, he was the only one who could be optioned. So I think that you look at who is coming back. Well, Garcia, he's coming back
for sure.
He doesn't need to be the closer, but he's coming back. You think Colwyn has earned a spot. You hope Mark Church is healthy. You wonder about Luis Curvelo, who did some things at times. You're wondering where Jake Latz goes. Okay. So, that's 5 guys right there.
Yeah.
And there's probably a few more. Do you bring back Armstrong? Do you go get a more proven guy? Something we can talk about a little bit later here. And then, Mike Maddox is always like the change of pace guy, and that's Hobie Milner.
Yeah.
Can you bring back Hobie Milner? So there's that component. You need to have the guys who come in on minor league deals, more veteran guys who can come up. If they don't make the opening day roster, they can take their assignment to Round Rock and just be ready when called upon. Because again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so there's just some places to start. And I already forgot about sports.
Yeah,
all about
that's right.
sports.
Thank you.
And Webb, who's arbitration eligible. So there is a good collection, but it needs to be better.
Right.
I think that's safe to say.
I think that's safe to say. And I think based on what we've seen from Chris Young in the past, I would not be surprised if he is looking for 2 starters, right? Now, we know what they have is obviously DeGrom, Eovaldi, Leiter. Rocker could be in the mix there somewhere, potentially. But they need – so if those – let's say it's those 4, you need 1 starter. And my thought would be if they need 1, CY's going 2.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just a huge believer in maximizing the arms. And at the end of the year, the Rangers kind of ran out of arms.
They did.
And believe it or not, and they just never really had the rotation depth, and they kind of forced Rocker into the rotation. I think we can say that now. They had Adrian Hauser, who ended up having a nice little season once he got out of Round Rock.
Yes.
He goes to the White Sox. He was acquired at the trade deadline. So if by the Rays, it's imperative that they have a lot of starting pitching depth. And yeah, through attrition and contract outs and things like that, you're going to lose guys. But they probably didn't have enough guys if we're being downright honest.
Right. And yes, Bruce, to your point, Latz is certainly a potential starter because we talked to CY about that Friday.
Yeah,
and they're willing. They will remain flexible mentally about him because he could do either job. So that's definitely a possibility too. Okay, coming up next, what we want to talk about is what these teams that are in the playoffs today, there are 8 of them, all playing today. What do they have that the Rangers don't? We'll talk about it next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we want to remind you about our supporters club. It is a great little club, and we want you to join it. Jeff and I, just during our pre-show meeting, the Queen Cat came up there and threw a camera in our face and said, talk. And so we did. And I think it's fun. It's just, it's just a look at some of the memories and the thoughts we have. It was specifically about the managers, the past managers of the Texas Rangers. And we have stories and recollections and lots of fun. And that's something you can only see if you're in the supporters club at the $15 level. If you're at the $5,
it'll come out later today.
It'll come out later today, guys. So those of you who are already there, do so. If you're not there, just pay the $15 because it's not just us too. It's all the stuff. The Cowboys are doing one. When did we hear this weekend? And the other teams on our team will do them too. And it's just kind of a peek behind the scenes. Jeff and I were just getting ready for the meeting or for the show in our meeting, and boom, there it was, top of the head type stuff. So join the supporters club today.
Yeah, and also please sign up to get our newsletter. It's easy to do. You go to our homepage, alldls.com, go to the bottom, and boom, there's the link to sign up for the newsletter. It's free, don't cost nothing, as Bluto says in Animal House. And what it is, we just want your email. We don't want to know your driver's license number or social security number or credit card number or any kind of numbers. Email only, and you'll get from Ali Wahad thumbnails. John coined it perfectly. Little thumbnails of what we've been writing about, what's going on in our area with sports, occasionally outside of our area if it's particularly notable. But, it's just a way to easily stay informed and easily get to our stuff. So, boom, sign up to get that newsletter.
Can I just say T.O.'s like my favorite diehard that we have. He's out there right now gifting subscriptions to people, which is look at it. Just back it up, Kat, and let us see who all T.O. just gifted. Look at there. We appreciate you very much, T.O. Look at, gave one to Rob, Matthew,
Striding Aragorn,
Wainwright, Wint. So anyway, T.O., thanks for doing that. And, of course, thank you for always being here and, keeping us honest, which isn't as easy as it seems. And I think I just got in trouble with Kat anyway for dropping the HE double toothpicks. Is that one okay or not?
I said it yesterday.
You did? That one's okay. All right.
I told the people criticizing Bo Naylor for taking his family first to go to hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, that's
and I'm doubling down on it.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah. And by the way, the Naylors did have the baby.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did. They must have had that baby on the off day. And anybody who is of a mindset to criticize that, go watch Bryce Harper's post-game press conference after Game 2 in Los Angeles, and he gets all teary-eyed, and you might be thinking, oh, yeah, because they're down 2-0. No, because just before the DS, his 4th child was born.
Oh, nice.
And he was just tearfully talking about how much, as we all do, how much he loves his family, right? And so that's what it's all about. And if you're thinking, oh, they should care more about baseball, no, go watch that interview. You'll see what baseball, what life, what everything is all about.
That's all right. And go to hell. So what, and we can't go through all 8 teams. I think it is, Jeff mentioned it earlier,
really cool that there are 4 elimination games today.
That's fun.
I mean, to me, there's nothing like last night's Yankees game being an elimination game, and the Yankees are down by 5 runs. And I mean, they came all the way back to tie it on the Aaron Judge home run on an inside 100-mile-an-hour pitch that he just kept fair. And I saw an interview with him afterwards. He says, when I hit the ball, the entire place to me was silent. And I was just watching it to see, right? Would it stay fair? It's not like he knew it was going to hit the foul pole. Would it be fair or foul? And then, of course, once it did, he said he heard everything. But where was he looking? He remembered specifically right at his teammates, the guys that have, bled and sweated with him throughout the year. But anyway, to me, that kind of drama is just so awesome. And we have the potential to have that kind of drama 4 times today. So, when you think about the teams that have what don't the Rangers have, like you can almost exclude the Yankees and Dodgers, Jeff, because they have everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have everything. But a lot of these other teams remind me a lot of the Rangers.
Yeah, you can kind of look at each series. The Yankees, they have the wherewithal and the willingness of ownership to go get help at the trade deadline because they acquired a lot of bullpen help. They have had some issues at times with their rotation depth, but they also have like 2 of the best lefties in the game.
Yeah,
they have 2 young guys in Warren and Schlittler, who they've brought up and are developed, and they've turned them into starters. And then they have guys that'll hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they might have too many of those guys, honestly, but they've got them, and that can change the game in a heartbeat as it did last night. So, do the Rangers have that? No, they don't have enough of that. They don't have it. Nobody has Aaron Judge, right?
Right.
But the Yankees have a couple really damn good hitters.
Yeah. Then you back him up with Giancarlo Stanton, and you mix in Cody Bellinger, and
right.
I mean they've got really an embarrassment of riches there. The one thing that is somewhat similar between the Rangers and the Yankees, not by lack of Yankee effort, no closer.
Yeah.
I mean they've struggled. Last year in the World Series, they're throwing some guy out there that's never,
Yeah. Well, they did go get Bednar and
like kid. I say, the Rangers didn't go get anyone.
Right.
They at least did.
They got some setup guys, but they didn't get. They were in on Bednar. They thought would have been nice to have had him.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then you look at the Blue Jays. Blue Jays just hit. They don't strike out. I mean, they can kill the ball.
Pass the baton too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. They have a great defensive player in Varsho. Vlad Guerrero's turned into a surprisingly nice little player over there at first base. Jimenez, when he plays at second base, arguably the best second baseman in baseball. So they have the defense. They have some bullpen issues that could be better. So maybe maybe the Rangers bullpen would hold up. But when you look at the Yankees and you look at the Phillies and you look at the Mariners. The Dodgers, just an embarrassment of riches there.
Yeah.
But those 3 teams, 9th inning, they're bringing in 90, 98.
Yep.
98 to 100.
Yep.
Rangers do not have that.
Nope.
And then the Dodgers even the other day when they'd allowed the 2 runs and runners were scoring position, all that stuff. For the last out, they go get Sasaki.
Yeah.
And he blows them away.
Throws 100.
They have that arm to do it, and and look at that game. Also, Dodgers defense won them that game. In the 9th inning.
That was great. The wheel play.
The wheel play was fantastic.
God. That was fantastic.
And then Freddie Freeman made the nice play on the force at second, then made the unbelievable dig to end the game.
Yeah.
So defense. They're not just high priced guys who will go out there and hit home runs or throw 100 miles an hour. They can play a little defense too. The Rangers are probably short. These Rangers this year, obviously they were short offensively. I'd put this rotation up against any rotation in the playoffs
100%.
right now.
And
you have teams starting bullpen games for crying out loud.
Right.
The Rangers would not need a bullpen game.
No.
But it's the lack of the hard throwing closer that I think is glaring. And it's colder in October, and man, guys do not want to hit when it's cold.
Mm-mm.
And if
especially not 100,
if somebody's coming in and throwing 100 at your hands, you have to swing at it. It's not pleasant. You don't want to do it. And so I think that's just another that's something that has to be addressed.
Yeah. And look, when we were looking at it and early, and maybe as early as the first 10 games, and the Rangers are off to an 8-2 start, and I'm thinking, assessing the American League, I'm like, none of these teams scare me because the Rangers offense we thought was going to be fine. And that rotation is just so good. Well, the rotation stayed that good, right? They had the best ERA in baseball during the regular season. The rotation proved itself. But, of course, we all know Seattle has a great rotation, too. And I'm not sure where they finished, behind how far behind the Rangers they finished. But it's a very, very good rotation, has been for years. So what you have in that situation, or what you had at the beginning of the year, was a team that was then at least as offensively challenged, or more so, than the Rangers. That said, they did address it, Jeff, at the trade deadline. They got Naylor. They got Suarez, right? They went after it. So that's what they have, in a way, that the Rangers don't.
Well, and they picked up some one relief arm at least. It was just a lefty from Pittsburgh, Ferguson. Just kind of fit something that they didn't have. So there was a willingness there, but they addressed their needs. Their rotation numbers may not be as good because they had some guys who were hurt and kind of languished a little bit when they came back. But like Logan Gilbert now is fantastic.
Oh, he's unbelievable. And George Kirby.
Sure. So, I mean, these are guys that and they're just kind of finding the groove at the right time, and that's the thing. And the Rangers knew it. The Rangers have lived it. They got hot at the right time. All their bullpen pieces in 23 came together at the right time. And Jordan Montgomery, who was okay after the Rangers got him, really stood up.
Yeah.
And then Evaldi, of course, who was good all year, but had been hurt and was slowly working his way back in September, came through in a big way. So there's a lot of truth to that. It's the team that gets hot. And right now, maybe the Blue Jays got cooled off a little bit yesterday,
Sure.
And they're having a bullpen game today.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
How's that going to work out? Yeah, it's like, hey, geez, holy cow. But it looks like the Dodgers are really putting it together at the right time.
It does. It seems like they're going to be very tough for anybody, Phillies included, to beat. And it appears maybe both of those, because the Brewers are just so good. And again, they're another team that just passes the baton, right? Wonderful chemistry, passes the baton offensively, and they're getting really good pitching. I mean, really good pitching. But when you looked at their rotation at the start of the year, it's not like you'd go, whoa, right? That's a murderer's row.
That guy could win a Cy Young.
Right.
No,
you weren't thinking that at all. Mizorowski was in there the other day. And again, he made the All-Star team based on his first 5 or 6 starts. And then he languished a bit in the second half of the season. But he's out there throwing. He threw 3 innings the other day. And I think his last hitter he faced, he threw 2 pitches over 104 miles an hour. 104 miles an hour. Are you kidding me? And he came off the field at the end of his little 3 innings of work in a game that ultimately I think kind of did become a bullpen game. And there was a camera right there, and it was right in his face, and he just, it was a great picture of that emotion. And but on paper, I look at them and I think, they don't have a lot that the Rangers don't have, except really good chemistry.
Yeah,
really good chemistry.
Sure. And they're put together well. their front office and their scouts do a wonderful job finding the guys that fit within their budget and do what they need. Their manager seems like a fun-loving kind of guy,
Yeah.
and Pat Murphy
puts pancakes in his pocket,
right,
and so forth.
Right. And then they really do a good job on the player development front. They probably have one player who if you're an opposing team, you're like, oh God, I don't want to face him, Christian Yelich. But and maybe Jackson Churio's getting there. Does Sal Frelick scare anybody?
No.
Not really.
No.
Andrew Vaughn, who's kind of been reborn, still doesn't. I'm going on track record there and thinking I'm going to get Andrew Vaughn
I'll be okay.
out.
Yeah, I'll get Vaughn. Yeah. And like you look at the Tigers, I don't think they have as much as the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Their starting rotation isn't close. Their offense is, okay, but it's showing itself in this postseason. That's for sure. They were 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position the other night. They're not great offensively. Timely, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But not great offensively. So there just aren't a lot of teams that are still out there that are, other than we mentioned the ones that have unlimited funds. But I think the Rangers, composition wise, are right in the hunt. And we always thought if they were able to get into the playoffs, they had that advantage of that rotation.
Yeah. And, it looks good for next season. It really does.
Yeah.
I think, as Skip Schumaker looks at this roster and all that stuff, he's like, hey, my rotation is headed by Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good starting point.
Yep. There's not a better one, too. Well, I guess that's an argument or a discussion anyway for a different day.
Yeah.
But that's a really good one, too. So anyway, that's a discussion about a fun day in baseball that it should be. 4 elimination games today. It'll keep, I think, all of us baseball fans pretty busy. Coming up next, though, it's our cleanup segment, much of which also deals with the playoffs and currently what's happening in the game. But we'll talk about it all next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, and don't forget, we've still got the deal going for Diehards. You've got 2 options here where you can get for $36, which is $3 a month. Which, again, through it, you get a free shirt, basically, or maybe you buy the shirt and you get a free Diehard membership. It depends upon how you look at it. But the point is you get a whole lot for $36 in this case. You get all the content we provide, 20% off all of our events and all of the things we do, 20% off all of our merch in the future, that free shirt. And it's just a fantastic deal. So we encourage you to become a Diehard. You can do it one of 2 ways. Scan the QR code or go to our site, our website. It's alldlls.com/join. And we really want you to become a Diehard, not just because it helps the company, but I promise you it helps you. You get so much content from all of our writers and the guys that are doing things and have been doing these same things for decades in the marketplace. Become a Diehard today. I promise you won't regret it.
I got to tell you, this coaching search is kind of like somewhat killing me.
Right.
Because I've got all this content that we can get into with the season review, but I don't want to bury the lead.
Right.
I don't want to distract with, let's take a look at Marcus Simeon's season.
Yeah.
I want damn news. I want this thing done. Yeah. So anyway.
But the good news is all that content comes after this.
That's
good.
There will be a flood of content. And then anyway, so the shirts, rarities. I have John's shirts. So do I. I have 2 of them.
Yep.
Pretty nice. Store.allcitynetwork.com is where you're going to go to get your free shirt when you become a Diehard. And you get a whole bunch of other stuff. And I am wearing a Do It for Dirt shirt today, but I am wearing that DLS hat. So store.allcitynetwork.com.
Okay, let's clean this thing up. The story in Detroit yesterday was unbelievable, first of all. And I meant to pull this video up. It was a 4-hour rain delay or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just ridiculous. And you know what? Maybe they just shouldn't be allowed to play baseball in October in Detroit, because I don't think the commissioner's ever going to allow that. And my family would kill me for saying it, because half of them were there yesterday. But we were there in 2011,
Yeah.
when there was about a 4-hour rain delay during the ALCS. And there was another one yesterday. What a beating. And it didn't look like it was raining that hard. But I know you got to field conditions and all that. Anyway, once it got started.
Hey, at least it rained, unlike before Game 6 of the 2011
World Series. 2011 World Series, yeah. But anyway, once they got it started, the game was what it was, especially for my family of Tiger fans. But the most amazing thing happened in that one when the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, hit his 61st home run of the season, and it was caught by a guy wearing a Big Dumper shirt. And he has on there Big Dumper 61. He also had a 62 shirt on.
Well, when it's cold, you got to wear layers.
Yeah, that's right. And I bet you there's a 63 under that, and he's probably sitting in the same spot. But, I mean, what are the odds that guy in a seat out there with a million Tiger fans around him catches the ball? And, by the way, he had to go down over the railing to get the thing a little bit. And then in classic Big Dumper form, he greets him and takes a pic with him, a little photo op after the game. So,
well, that's the visitor's bullpen. So he was going to get the ball back anyway, Raleigh. So I'm sure that it was very easy. Hey, let's call down to the bullpen, get that guy's name. Let's bring him in after the game. And
bring him in, get the ball, take a picture, give him a bat.
Absolutely.
Everything's good. So anyway, but just the odds of that are so amazing to me that one guy, not very random because he knew he had to, he knows he's at 60 of them. He knows where a lot of them go.
Right.
He knew roughly where he had to sit, but still it could have been 6 feet one way or the other, and he doesn't get to catch it. So I mentioned that Judge home run, but that was like stuff out of the natural. Right?
Right.
And I saw one video of it a fan took from behind the foul pole, and just watching the fans' arms, you just see, and they're like, they don't know whether to cheer or not, and then all of a sudden it hits the pole and everybody goes up it was really cool. I mean, it's that kind of dramatic moment that make October baseball.
Right. And a lot of people had, even one of my buddies in Colorado had texted me recently because Judge struck out with the bases loaded the other night, and he was like, hey, is this guy like great in the regular season but not clutch? I was like, well, you can make that argument just based on last year and that at bat, but this was a huge hit. He's batting like .524 this postseason.
Right.
He has more hits than anybody else.
Yeah.
And then the pitch that he hit was 99.7 miles per hour. And it was like a foot inside.
Yeah, yeah.
And he somehow kept it fair. And I don't even know how he swung at it. And so anyway, pretty impressive. But to rise to the moment.
Yeah, and we just said you don't, when it's chilly, which it was in New York too, you don't want to swing, especially not at an inside pitch,
right?
Because it's going to reverberate all the way up and down your body. But of course he did. And his main comment after the game, because Rosenthal asked him after the game. Sorry, Ken.
Little Kenny.
Little guy. He asked him after the game, he said, what was going, you had just swung through 100-mile-an-hour pitch.
Yeah. What's
going through your head? And Judge said, I got to do this for the guys. We got to do this. We've got to get this done. And he did. So, man, that's the kind of guy you want on your team. That was really a cool moment. And you're right. I mean, going into the game, he was hitting .444 with an on base of .550.
Yeah.
Right. And then he improved that with the game yesterday. So he is not having a bad offseason. He just hadn't been hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But now he's done that too. And certainly there's your signature moment, even if the Yankees get eliminated today.
Yeah.
Which is certainly a possibility.
Certainly a possibility, and we'll see what happens.
At that game, right behind home plate, I guess fresh off of his Saturday Night Live hosting appearance, you would find one Bad Bunny.
I'm excited about this one.
Bad Bunny sitting right there. Second row. Do we have video? Yeah, right there. Second row. They got him circled. He doesn't even move, right? He doesn't even move. And all of a sudden, the foul ball falls right at his feet. And Bad Bunny, shades and all, catches a foul ball. I mean, and by the way,
the guy behind him whiffed on it.
He whiffed. Yeah, he did. And he should feel
Straight
bad.
whiff.
And if that guy...
And then he thought about it. He thought about it. It's like, I'm not taking the ball from Bad Bunny.
No, and if that guy was that lady...
win.
Oh, boy, he did
I got to tell
too.
you, I don't know if that guy knows who Bad Bunny is.
He might not.
Yeah.
No, he might not. No, he might not.
Nerd.
And I saw Saturday Night Live, but with Bad Bunny dressed like that and stuff, I'm not positive I would have recognized him either in that context. But anyway, those seats are cool, but you don't get very many foul balls right there, right? That ball's got to be straight up and straight down. And
I think that those are Lorne Michaels seats.
Okay.
Because Lorne Michaels, I've seen him at Yankees games, Rangers games. He's got primo seats.
So that is it. Yeah. Right after Saturday Night Live, hey, take my seats, go to the game. You know, yeah.
So I think I'm sure Bad Bunny would have no problem getting.
No,
nice
yeah,
seats.
he'd have, yeah.
But to get, I really think those are Lorne Michaels seats.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. Love the story of Quinn Priester, young guy who grew up a Cubs fan, and just went to games with his grandparents all the time. He's from somewhere in the northern part of Illinois, and there's him with his grandpa when he's little, and they went to all these different Cubs games. And now he's a pitcher, as you know, Jeff, for the Brewers, and he's pitching Game 3. I mean, he's essentially their third best pitcher right now, and he had a rough, really start to his career, even to this season, but he's going pretty well right now.
Sure, and won a lot of games. I mean, this team won a lot of games.
Yeah,
it's fun to kind of hear these stories because you heard it about the Schlitter, who's from Boston and eliminated Boston with a terrific performance. It's just kind of cool that these things exist, and these kids obviously are going to be baseball fans,
Right.
Hopefully one day Henry Wilson is out there pitching for a major league team.
Yeah, and we got
to tell the story of him beating the Rangers.
Yeah.
And by that point I'll be living off of Henry and not doing this work, so it won't matter. But there are things out there that are just kind of neat that happen. As for Quinn, I know Prize Picks isn't one of our ads today, but it's like, will he get more than 12 and a half outs? There was thought that he would come into the game the other night and be their their bulk innings guy, as they call it. So it's tricky. On the Prize Picks, the outs recorded by pitchers, I want no business of it during the postseason because quick hooks.
There's quick hooks in the postseason. That's a good point. The Toronto Blue Jays switched hats late in the season. It was right at that point when the Yankees had tied them in the division. And one of their guys said, you know what, man, we need to go find the 1992 vintage hats, which they had a whole bunch of somewhere in a back storeroom. And since they've been wearing those and they, obviously have gotten on this run, and they have the white there and then the white panel on the side too is the distinction. But that would, those 90s, Blue Jays teams, early 90s Blue Jays teams were fantastic.
Yeah.
And so Joe Carter and all of them. So, Dave Steeb, all those guys. So this team's trying to channel the previous World Series champion Toronto Blue Jays.
I mean, that's more than 40 years ago.
I know.
No,
that
30
they
years
had
ago,
the
more than
hats.
30 years ago. But those hats are pretty old. They probably go into the 80s, right?
Right.
So anyway, but I mean, growing up and remembering those teams, like in the 80s, George Bell, and the Org brothers, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of got into the 90s, and Al Leiter won a World Series with them, and just a lot of great names in the game. Tony Fernandez, who was fantastic and was a Rangers, kind of a minor league guy in the Dominican who passed away prematurely, but real good guy and a hell of a player. But yeah, those Blue Jays have a pretty rich baseball history.
They do.
Especially during those 20 years from, let's say, 80 to 2000.
Yep, very much so. And who knows? They may advance today. I know there's a lot of people who don't like the Yankees that hope they do. So we'll see, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. And we'll talk about something along those lines on Friday, but maybe, just maybe, we'll have a press conference to talk about on Friday, and we'll get you an opportunity to hear from the new manager if they do. So that's coming up the next couple of days on the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us today, as always, and we'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.